At this time, most of the sites which are offering CAR-T therapy are academic sites, sites which do stem cell transplantation. If we think of the future and would like to include a number of community sites and expand to community sites, which will obviously increase the access for patients to get CAR-T therapy, we just have to be mindful about having the same set of criteria and same set of guidelines which we have used so far, so that the quality of collection as well as giving this therapy and then managing patients with the side effects of this therapy remains the same irrespective of the site which is offering this. So we obviously should have the same standards for academic and community settings, but I really think that if community sites are able to do knowing the details of what is entailed in offering CAR-T therapies, then it's a significant investment, but it can be done. The first step in offering CAR-T therapy is to find if a patient is eligible or not. And the way to do that is to know if the disease which the patient has is in the FDA-approved indication of relapsed refractory diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, transformed follicular lymphoma, or primary mediastinal B-cell lymphoma after failure of 2 prior therapies. The next part of it is, even if they meet this criteria, looking at the patient who's sitting in front of you, does that patient have comorbidities, organ function, performance status, which will limit or will not limit that patient from getting this therapy. Meaning, if they get sick during cytokine release syndrome or neurotoxicity, are they going to be able to get through it, knowing that most of these side effects are reversible as been shown in clinical trials. The next set of criteria for screening and eligibility is to see if the patient is reliable, if they have a caregiver, if they live close to the center, if they can be close to the center where CAR-T therapy is being offered, and if they are pretty gung-ho about this therapy. It's a significant investment in time and effort for the patient, and it's a pretty serious therapy. So it would be very important to evaluate that, and for that it's important not just for the clinical team to work with the patient, but also have a social worker and advanced providers, nurses, nurse coordinators, sort of a team approach to see if this person is not just eligible, but it's also feasible to do the CAR-T therapy in them. It's also another very important consideration is the disease status of the patient. Yes, this is a therapy for relapsed and refractory disease, but it's very important at the time of consultation to evaluate the pace of the disease. If someone is having a disease which doesn't appear to be controlled in the next few weeks or several weeks, which it would take to actually get the treatment, then that person may not be feasible to get the CAR-T therapy, versus someone whose disease can be probably controlled with some sort of a bridge between the time of consultation and actually having the cells ready. The timing for the CAR-T infusion process depends on when the product is available. Once the product is available, most of the patients who are ready for CAR-T infusion process would have already finished lymphodepleting chemotherapy several days prior to receiving the CAR-T product. At this point in time, the product from Kite Pharma, Axicell, and the CTL019 are infused after thawing at the bedside. The product from Juno Therapeutics, which is currently on clinical trial, comes in vials, and there is a CD4 vial and a CD8 vial. These are thawed. The correct amounts are drawn up into syringes, and both these products are individually administered to the patient after thawing. So those are the little bit of differences between the Lysocell and the CTL019 and Axicell, but what happens is the most important thing is what happens after the cells are given, and the monitoring which is needed right after for CRS and neurotoxicity. And how do you pick up these toxicities early on, and how do you intervene early on to prevent some of the more severe toxicities from happening?